Now, of course, when we talk about the overall equities market, one trend that we're seeing is in the initial public offering space, or in IPOs. Again, companies choosing to go public, apparently not at the pace that they used to in 2021, a big slowdown in 2022. For more on that, let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Emily McCormick, who's been watching the stats in terms of the slowdown in the IPO space. Morning, Emily.
Good morning, Brian. And you're absolutely right. We've seen a major drop in the number and size of IPOs taking place so far in 2022 compared to the same period last year. Now, last year, of course, was a record-setting year in the IPO market with hundreds of deals taking place between both traditional and SPAC listings, which really had their moment in 2021, but not so for this year. And to that end, I do want to start off with a stat from this morning from Renaissance Capital. That firm said that it's now been 1 month since the last initial public offering took place here in the U.S., and that does mark the longest dry spell in 5 years. Now, I also reached out to Dealogic for a deeper dive into the IPO market stats, and their data really highlighted the fact that both the number and the deal size of IPOs have been much smaller this year compared to prior years, and especially to 2021. Now, for the year to date to last Friday, March 11th, just 21 traditional IPOs took place here in the U.S. That compares to 68 in the same period in 2021 and 23 in the same period in 2020. And on the SPAC side, so far 51 have taken place this year versus a whopping 252 through mid-March last year and 13 in 2020, though that was really before the SPAC vehicle became the popular way to go public. And then finally, in terms of the monetary value of the deals taking place this year, so far the deal value of the traditional IPOs have only been about $2.3 billion. That compares to $32.6 billion for the same period in 2021 and $7.2 billion in 2020. So again, this really does go to show that after a blowout year last year for IPOs, we're not necessarily seeing the size or the number of deals keeping pace in 2022.
All right, so Emily, I guess the natural question then is, why is that happening? Is it because the Fed tightening cycle is beginning? Is it because so many companies went public in 2021 that there aren't any other companies to start listing now? Well, what's behind it?
Well, Brian, the answer to that really is all of the above, according to what I've been hearing from Renaissance Capital, as well as I also spoke earlier this morning with David Etheridge, who is PwC Deal's Managing Director and IPO Services Leader. And really, again, we are seeing quite a bit of market volatility. We've seen the sell-off across tech and growth names, across the broader S&P 500, and even more importantly for the IPOs as an indicator, the Russell 2000 has been under a lot of pressure. And that really started in the second half of last year and continued into the beginning of this year. And we've really just been seeing this appetite for risk assets, for those growthier names, really starting to abate as we head into this Fed tightening cycle. The likelihood of the interest rate hikes that we'll be seeing this year all weighing on valuations. And Brian, I think it does beg the question then, if you are a company that is thinking about going public, you've seen the lofty valuations that companies last year were able to fetch, and you think about going public this year and the big bankers are telling you you're just not going to be able to actually capture that kind of valuation, it does beg the question of why you would even want to go public in this kind of environment rather than just kicking the can down the road. And I think that is what a lot of companies are waiting for, is that signal that we are in a stronger IPO environment and that it is going to be the right time to go public and generate the kinds of returns that we've seen in years past.
All right, well, maybe that suggests that there's a bunch of other companies waiting in the wings for some other boom, perhaps down the line. But Yahoo Finance's Emily McCormick, thanks so much for the breakdown.